There's a phrase that should not be uttered without the heart preparing to tremble. Only 4% left. 4% that seem as small as a grain of dust, but carry the weight of all human history pressing down on the present. 4% that sound like an echo from the future, a future that doesn't yet exist, but already demands a stance. This is the margin between remaining asleep or witnessing Earth undergoing a quantum leap capable of reshaping everything we call real, possible, and human. When this revelation reaches our ears, something ancestral awakens, as if a memory predating flesh were silently stirring within us, reminding us that this transition is older than the species itself, because something has changed, and not subtly. In recent months, a global wave of memories, contacts, and accounts has emerged as if someone had lifted an invisible membrane placed over the collective mind. People from Croatia, Australia, New Zealand, France, Portugal, and so many other places have begun to write, confess, and revisit buried memories. What was once a timid whisper has become a chorus that resonates across the planet. These are not isolated fantasies. It is a synchronicity that shows the veil is thinning and that consciousnesses are perceiving what once seemed forbidden or unthinkable. Something observes, something presses, something calls, and it is in this collective emergence that a fundamental distinction arises. Abduction is not the same thing as contact. Abduction happens without permission. Contact happens by invitation. So simple in phrase, so profound in meaning. Because the universe doesn't operate through emotional chaos. It operates through codes, protocols, frequencies, and agreements. If someone is taken without warning, it's because there's study, adjustment, or repair. If someone enters by invitation, it's because they carry within themselves the necessary vibration to access another level of reality. Humanity has always mixed fear with ignorance, but now it needs to learn to decode intentions, because the difference between being terrified and awakening lies precisely in understanding this distinction. The signs, however, didn't just appear now. They were scattered throughout history, in Australian caves with drawings of men wearing clothing impossible for their time, in Renaissance tapestries showing flying objects hovering over perplexed nobles, in temples with figures with disproportionate eyes and elongated heads, in impossible artifacts like fossils with shoe prints millions of years old or metal batteries and alloys that shouldn't exist. The world has always been full of evidence. What was lacking wasn't proof, but the willingness to look. Now, for the first time in a long time, people are beginning to see. And the reason why all this is emerging now is as simple as it is devastating. We are on the threshold of transition. And the Confederation cannot remain hidden when the planet approaches the most important decision in its history. If we reach 4% critical mass, they can act at a deeper level, not to save, but to cooperate. If we don't, we will continue spinning in the same spiral of suffering, repetition, destruction, and oblivion. The hook is clear, urgent, and prophetic. The cosmic clock is ticking, and this hour demands inner positioning. The leap doesn't depend on heaven, it depends on us. When we walk through the timeline of human history and observe its fragments, we realize that official history is merely a polite, polished, domesticated surface designed to fit within textbooks. But in the cracks, in the unsettling archaeological remains, the world reveals itself to be far stranger and vaster than textbooks allow. Cave paintings depicting beings with giant eyes, hoods, and clothing non-existent in the local culture. Temples showing figures of proportions incompatible with any human anatomy of the time. Tapestries with luminous discs hovering in the sky. These records were not created to enchant future artists. They were desperate attempts to record what they themselves could not comprehend. Then come the impossible artifacts. A fossil with marks that look like a boot pressing on a trilobite. An animal that lived hundreds of millions of years ago. A 40-year-old electric battery capable of generating energy when humanity didn't even know the concept. Hammers made of metal alloys that don't belong to Earth's elements. 12,000-year-old laser-etched discs made by a civilization called Dropa, whose existence doesn't correspond to any known human race. Each of these artifacts carries a silent truth. Something visited us, interacted with us, and left traces. traces that we, for some reason, insist on ignoring. And we ignore it not because there is a lack of evidence, but because there are very clear interests involved in maintaining this ignorance. Powerful governments have always had reasons to remain silent. A humanity that knows it is not alone, that perceives that there are other levels of evolution, that understands that there are societies without war, without the destruction industry, without misery, and without manipulation. This humanity would no longer accept living under control. Revealing the existence of more ethical, more advanced and freer civilizations would mean overthrowing entire political structures. That is why the silence. That is why the laughter. That is why the strategic disdain. But despite this political silence, the truth insists on emerging. It resurfaces in ancient documents, oral histories, energy traces, and memories recovered during altered states of consciousness. No matter how much they try to hide it, the non-human presence has always infiltrated art, architecture, religion, mythology, and science. It's as if each generation leaves clues for another, discreetly warning that the world is vaster than the cultural surface allows. And now, at this specific planetary moment, all these clues converge and begin to point in the same direction. Something is approaching. The inevitable conclusion is that we have never been alone, never been an isolated civilization, never been a cosmic accident lost in a corner of the Milky Way. We are part of a larger story, a story involving visits, hybridizations, falls, restarts, technological losses, and periodic reboots. And the final revelation of this topic is clear. All of this is resurfacing because the time has come. Because understanding our origin is the key to understanding the quantum leap that is approaching. Before ascending, we need to remember. Before transforming, we need to see. And we are, for the first time in a long time, truly beginning to see. The first truth that humanity needs to face with maturity is simple and uncomfortable. The universe is not neutral. It is polar. Everything vibrates between two extremes of the same energy: love and hate, faith and fear, hope and despair. Slow vibration produces shadow. Accelerated vibration produces light. And by understanding this, we understand why different races observe Earth with such distinct intentions. Some come driven by compassion and cosmic responsibility. Others, by self-interest, domination, or inner reparation. Earth is not a random point. It is a living field where opposing forces silently vie for the future direction of human consciousness. When we look at civilizations like the Antarians, profoundly ethereal beings whose presence can only manifest here through intense condensation, we perceive the colossal difference between societies that have evolved morally and societies that have developed only technically. They do not come to save us, nor to control us. They come as older brothers, aware that they have already trod paths very similar to ours, full of wars, falls, purifications, and new beginnings. Their posture is that of those who recognize in humanity the reflection of their own past, not that of those who judge or place themselves above. But on the other side of the spectrum, there are the draconians, dense, warlike, ancient beings whose vibration moves away from love and towards structures that feed on fear, submission, and pain. They represent the opposite extreme of the same energy, and their relationship with Earth has never been simple. In ancient times, they seized power in specific regions, establishing systems of control and rigid hierarchies that shaped part of human history without humanity realizing it. Their influence is no longer as central as before, but it continues to infiltrate emotional and social structures that promote division, violence, and alienation. The most shocking fact, however, is another. Earth is a planet, non-confederate. This means we are not part of the great cosmic alliance of evolved worlds that share protection, exchange, and responsibility. We are not part of it because we are still seen, and in a way we ourselves demonstrate this, as an unstable, self-destructive, emotionally fragile, technologically daring, and morally immature race. Therefore, the Confederation cannot interfere extensively here. Our collective vibration is what determines how close they can get. That is why the missing 4% is not symbolic. It is literally the key that opens or closes the door to positive intervention. The coexistence of luminous and dense forces directly impacting humanity is not fiction. It is the silent backdrop of our entire trajectory. We are a planet under study because we are in the midst of a critical transition with a real risk of technological self-destruction while simultaneously emitting signals of moral awakening. We are a living crossroads, and this moment is precisely the point where we need to recognize that we are not spectators. We are the field, the stage, the beacon, and the challenge. The battle does not take place between them. The battle happens within us. When we observe human evolution with eyes free from conditioning, we realize that the leap from primate to Homo sapiens was not a simple natural biological process. Millions of years of slow and gradual development cannot explain the abrupt emergence of a being with language, complex memory, symbolism, spirituality, and abstract reasoning. The original transcript points to the exact moment when intervention occurred, when advanced beings, described in Sumerian myths as those from Nibiru, began to manipulate genetic material to produce hybrids capable of understanding instructions, working, and evolving morally at a faster rate. This is the part of history that official science avoids, but that deep archaeology and ancient traditions insist on revealing. In the hybrid process, something extraordinary happened: the introduction of a consciousness matrix that did not exist on Earth. Human DNA became an expanded field, capable of emotional and spiritual learning that no animal on the planet possessed. Homo sapiens emerged as a body prepared to receive spirits of greater moral capacity, beings from constellations such as Capella, Sirius, Orion, and other systems that answered the call for collective evolution. Earth then became a school, but a harsh school whose classroom involved falling, forgetting, reconstruction, and successive choices between light and shadow. As the cycles progressed, other interventions occurred, not to control, but to adjust the species to the next stages of planetary consciousness. Indigo and crystal children are the current expression of this cosmic engineering. Beings with activated genetic maps, accelerated intuition, extreme sensitivity, and a different emotional structure. They are not chosen, as many imagine, but rather pioneers. Voluntary servants who carry within themselves the prototype of the next human race. A race that will use DNA not only as a biological structure, but as a vibrational instrument of interdimensional connection. And here the link to the present moment emerges. Since December 12, 2012, high-frequency waves have been traversing the Earth's field, activating dormant regions of the human genome. These activations provoke physical, emotional, and existential symptoms that many are already feeling: unexplained urgency, insomnia, sensitivity, repulsion towards dense environments, abrupt changes in habits, increased spiritual perception, and a feeling of being about to begin something, but without knowing exactly what. DNA responds to light as a plant responds to the sun, inevitably, and the entire planet is undergoing this germination. The birth of the new human race will not be brought about by a celestial miracle or a spectacular public intervention. It is happening now, silently, through the small internal transformations that each awakened person feels. We are the fruit of ancient lineages and invisible engineering. We are the result of the errors and successes of countless cosmic generations. And this is the point where the script straightens out. The human species is being prepared for a vibrational leap. And those who sense the activation are not privileged spectators. They are workers of the ascension, responsible for sustaining the frequency that will propel Earth through the final 4%. The silence surrounding the extraterrestrial presence is not simply institutional ignorance, it's strategy. Powerful governments understood from the first direct approaches that full disclosure would dismantle the political, religious, and economic structures that sustain the human world as it is today. To admit that there are civilizations more evolved not only technologically, but morally and emotionally, would mean admitting that we live below our potential, obeying systems that keep us fragmented, indebted, sick, and manipulable. That is why the veil is maintained, not for protection, but out of fear. Fear of losing power. When presidents and authorities were approached by different extraterrestrial groups, some luminous and others hostile, choices were made. The transcript shows that, faced with the offer of clean, sustainable, and non-predatory technology, the leaders refused. They preferred the proposal of the Greys and other groups of lower vibration, who offered weapons, psychological control, military advantage, and domination. But all this came at a price: authorizing abductions, permitting experiments, keeping the public in the dark. Humanity became a bargaining chip, a piece on the geopolitical chessboard that transcended terrestrial borders. And as if that weren't enough, the fear of the questions that would arise among the population, questions about spirituality, morality, destiny, purpose, became another pillar of silence. Because a humanity that discovers that there is more evolved life out there inevitably questions its own internal leadership. It questions wars, misery, exploitation, injustice. It discovers that there are ways to live without corrupt governments, without invented debts, without systems based on suffering. This kind of awakening is dangerous for those who profit from chaos. Silence is also fueled by emotional panic. Governments believe that a sudden revelation would cause mass psychological collapse, although this argument has been used repeatedly to justify oppression. But what would truly collapse is not the population. It is the system that sustains itself on lies. Such a great truth does not destroy people. It destroys artificial structures, and that is why it is so feared. The truth is that concealment doesn't protect us. It only delays the inevitable, the moment when humanity will realize that it has always been connected to the Star Peoples, and that the Confederation is not a myth, but an observant reality, waiting for the vibrational maturity of Earth. The silence of the powerful is the last obstacle before the collective awakening, and it is wearing thin, because the veil is now tearing from within. There is a universal law as old as the first suns that illuminated the Milky Way. No civilization of light can directly intervene in the destiny of an immature planet without that planet issuing a collective vibrational permission. This permission is not a phrase, nor a political decree, nor an official transmission. It is an energy result, produced by the sum of incarnate and disincarnate consciousnesses that live in and influence the planetary field. That is why the Confederation does not land in public squares, does not close the sky with bright ships, and does not present itself to governments as a savior. They are not authorized. The non-interference directive exists for a profound reason, so that each civilization is responsible for its own moral growth. There is no true evolution when someone else does the work for you. If the Confederation solved our problems, hunger, war, environmental collapse, we would only be repeating the spiritual infancy that brought us here. We would be dependent, fragile, and incapable of sustaining a new world. The quantum leap only happens when consciousness changes, not when a miracle falls from the sky. But there are exceptions. The Confederation can only intervene directly if humanity reaches the minimum necessary critical mass. And that's where the 4% comes in, that are missing. They become a defining cosmic line. When a certain number of human beings awaken, heal, change their vibration, expand their compassion, and abandon destructive patterns, a luminous signal begins to be emitted in the Earth's energy field. This signal is read as invitation. It is the metaphysical equivalent of saying, "We are ready to walk alongside you." The Confederation does not respond to verbal requests. It responds to states of consciousness. Until we reach that level, they can only act individually. That's why so many people have personal experiences: sightings, contacts, activations, lucid dreams, abduction memories, inexplicable physical sensations. These interventions are permitted because they are part of the preparation plan. They don't affect global free will. They only adjust individuals who made spiritual commitments before incarnating. Each contactee is a piece in the critical mass mechanism. Each awakening weighs on the balance. The essential point is this: the Confederation is not absent. It is waiting, observing, preparing, and hoping, in the silent way that highly evolved beings hope, that humanity will finally discover that the power has always been within it. If we don't ask with vibrational frequency, they cannot come. But if we ask consciously, they are already here. The quantum leap depends precisely on this, on our ability to change from within what we implore to change from without. The most misunderstood and, At the same time, the most essential point is that the evolution of Earth does not depend on governments, institutions, religions, or external forces. It depends on the individual. Each human being is like a vibrational microstar pulsating in the planet's field, and each expansion of consciousness, each ethical choice, each gesture of compassion directly alters the collective hologram. The extraterrestrials of the Confederation observe this with millimeter precision. When a single human awakens, the Earth awakens a little as well. When thousands awaken, the global vibration undergoes a measurable change. And when millions awaken, the very planetary destiny begins to shift direction. This truth, so simple and so powerful, is the basis of the planetary quantum analysis mentioned by the very beings who study us. They don't observe economic statistics, nor political data, nor superficial predictions. They observe frequencies. They observe how fear moves through bodies, how hope is born even amidst chaos, how certain people decide to abandon toxic cycles, how others discover the value of introspection, silence, and self-care. Every small human gesture becomes part of an energetic map that influences the entire trajectory of the Earth. There is no isolated action. Everything reverberates. Therefore, the critical mass that is missing, those 4%, so mysterious. It's not about quantity, it's about quality. It's not about converting large crowds, nor about awakening all of humanity. Light doesn't need a majority, it needs density. A single candle in a dark room doesn't eliminate the shadow, but it changes the entire perception of the environment. A flashlight already organizes the space. A bonfire transforms everything. That's how critical mass works. It doesn't require a perfect planet. It only requires that a minimum number of consciousnesses align with what is highest within themselves. This process, however, requires courage, because awakening hurts. Awakening means looking inward, recognizing patterns of self-sabotage, confronting old beliefs, releasing identities that no longer serve, breaking toxic ties, abandoning comfort zones built up over entire lifetimes. It is common for a person, upon awakening, to face loneliness, estrangement, a feeling of rupture. This is not a sign of failure, it is a sign of vibrational reconfiguration. All expansion, before illuminating, destabilizes. The Confederation understands this deeply because all the civilizations that observe us today have already gone through similar processes. They know the emotional cost of the leap, the discomfort, the doubt, the fear of losing their own identity. And yet, they also know that awakening is the only path that truly transforms. Therefore, when you change, even alone, you are not just changing for yourself. You are shifting the axis of the world. And this shift is exactly what the 4% finals they demanded of us. Something is happening inside millions of people around the planet, even though many don't know how to name the phenomenon. It's a silent restlessness, an inexplicable urgency, a feeling that something needs to change, even when nothing external points to it. This impulse is the hallmark of activation, high-frequency waves that have been impacting the planet since December 12, 2012, and which continue to intensify. These waves are not metaphorical. They have a direct impact on DNA, activating dormant regions, awakening perceptions, and preparing the body for a new era of consciousness. The symptoms are diverse but profoundly similar among people who have never met. Insomnia between 3 and 4 in the morning, as if something internal were calling for invisible work. Increased emotional sensitivity, with tears that come for no reason and irritations that explode out of nowhere. Radical changes in habits, such as the sudden refusal to consume certain foods, environments, or people that were previously tolerable. There is also a hunger for meaning, a desire to study spirituality, energy, quantum science, extraterrestrial phenomena, as if the spirit were recovering something it always knew but had forgotten. Another powerful sign is the sudden disconnection from destructive emotional patterns. People who previously tolerated humiliation, abusive relationships, or suffocating routines suddenly find themselves unable to remain in those places. It's as if the whole body is saying, "This doesn't suit you anymore." Activation doesn't ask permission. It reconfigures. It pushes toward the truth. The discomfort so many people feel today isn't illness. It's the spiritual body adjusting its emotional structure to support higher frequencies. There is also the silent calling, that deep, almost childlike desire to look at the sky, to wait for a sign, to feel that there is someone out there, to seek connection with something greater. This calling is not fantasy. It is communication. It is the DNA's response to the presence of beings who vibrate on a different frequency and who approach when they perceive individuals capable of receiving them. The Confederation doesn't knock on the door personally. It activates. It awakens. It moves inwardly so that contact, when it occurs, is lucid and not traumatic. And perhaps the most beautiful and most challenging thing is that activation doesn't just prepare the individual, but prepares them as part of a whole. Each activated being becomes an antenna, a frequency transmitter, a point of light in the planetary field. Activation is a calling and also a responsibility. It says, now you know. Now you vibrate differently. Now you are part of the field that will generate the 4%. It's not a privilege, it's a mission, and each symptom is proof that you are fulfilling it. There is a profound misconception that needs to be corrected before humanity enters the next phase. Contactees and abductees are not special chosen ones, superior enlightened beings, or divine representatives. They are not heroes. They are not chosen. They are observers people who in general carry old histories, old mistakes, old commitments, and who accepted on some plane before birth to work to repair what was caused in past collectives. Being contacted is not a prize, it's a responsibility. And being abducted is not a punishment, it's a function. The Confederation, and even lower vibrational groups, do not choose individuals based on appearance, strength, fame, charisma, or social standing. They choose based on code, through DNA. Those who possess certain genetic combinations, certain spiritual memories, certain karmic agreements become eligible to participate in study, communication, or reconstruction programs. Many abductees, when studied, are analyzed precisely for their ability to generate specific vibrational offspring or for carrying records of stellar lineages in their physical cells. There is also the emotional factor. People who are contacted generally have great sensitivity, heightened intuition, natural empathy, or a psychic openness that makes contact possible. They are not perfect people. On the contrary, many carry deep traumas, histories of loneliness, feelings of displacement, and pains they cannot explain. This is because those who served the light in ancient times, or who served dense forces and now seek to repair, often come with open wounds, ready to be transformed into a mission. They are souls who have already experienced falls, wars, deserts, and new beginnings in other worlds. Another essential point is fear. Many abductees don't talk, don't tell, don't share, not out of shame, but because their emotional body still can't handle the memory. Abduction isn't simple. Contact isn't simple. They require an internal preparation that only develops over time. That's why so many only remember years later, or only when activation awakens memories. The Confederation respects this. It doesn't force revelations, it doesn't expose anyone, but it monitors each process with precision. And finally, contactees and abductees share a common mission to help the planet reach critical mass. They are seeds, transmitters, points of light that spread information, vibration, and courage for others to awaken. They are not leaders, not saviors, not masters. They are light workers, laborers of the quantum leap, living fragments of the bridge that will connect Earth to the cosmic family. They are not chosen because they are better. They are chosen because they are needed. The future is not written. This oft-repeated phrase often sounds too poetic to be taken seriously. But when viewed from the quantum perspective revealed by the beings of the Confederation themselves, it takes on a different depth. The future, literally, does not exist until a choice in the present summons it. Every human decision, every sustained emotion, every reiterated thought creates small lines of probability that intertwine, expand, or unravel. The future is a fabric, not a destiny. It is built in real time by the sum of human vibrations. And that is why extraterrestrials monitor humanity so closely. A minimal shift in consciousness now can alter centuries of history ahead. Understanding this requires abandoning the idea of absolute predestination. The apocalyptic timeline, for example, is not an indisputable prophecy. It is merely the densest line created by centuries of fear, violence, and pattern repetition. But other lines coexist. The line of regeneration, born from compassion and awareness. The line of spiritual expansion, which arises when people learn to look inward. The line of planetary unity, which strengthens when humans stop seeing each other as enemies and begin to recognize each other as mirrors. Each line vibrates like an energetic avenue, waiting for more individuals to choose to walk along it. The quantum leap is not an automatic event, nor a privilege granted. It depends on the path we collectively choose through our daily choices. And it's not about great heroic feats, but about micro decisions that seem insignificant. Choosing not to fuel a destructive argument, choosing to take care of one's own body, choosing not to be dominated by fear, choosing to speak the truth when lying seems more comfortable, choosing to help someone when the ego tells us to ignore them. The entire universe responds to small human decisions because it is in them that the vibrational pattern of a civilization is defined. The Confederation observes the sum of these micro-decisions. They perceive when the collective pattern begins to shift, when the planetary field becomes lighter, more coherent, more aligned with truth. That is why, despite all the visible collapses, wars, crises, polarizations, they affirm that we are closer to the leap than ever before. Because silently, without grand spectacles, humanity is choosing new vibrational lines. Millions are awakening to inner responsibility. Millions are realizing that global change is born from inner change. These choices are the material of the future. The central point is that the regeneration pathway already exists, and it is this pathway that demands the final 4%. When this minimum percentage of coherent vibrations is reached, the positive pathway will become dominant, drawing Earth into a new state. It will be the first time in millennia that the planet chooses light instead of repetition, consciousness instead of chaos. And this future, so near and so fragile, depends on ordinary individuals making extraordinary choices in the silence of their daily lives. Most people imagine celestial wars, dramatic invasions, and epic battles when discussing disputes between forces of light and shadow. But the transcript makes it clear that the real battle doesn't take place in the sky. It happens within human consciousness. It's a silent, intimate, emotional struggle, where each person becomes territory of light or entropy depending on what they nurture within themselves. Dense forces and elevated forces don't fight with weapons. They fight by influencing thoughts, emotions, patterns, impulses. Who hasn't felt a sudden wave of hopelessness for no reason? Who hasn't noticed a good impulse being stifled by irrational fear? That is the field of dispute. The draconians and other lower vibrational groups don't need to invade Earth to influence humanity. They simply exploit our emotional weaknesses. They operate where there is anger, addiction, obsession, pride, despair, and incongruity. Meanwhile, higher civilizations operate where there is honesty, courage, altruism, and self-awareness. This struggle is as old as humankind itself, but now it reaches its peak. We are in the final second of a vibrational battle, and humanity is the prize. This is why so much seems chaotic. We are at the precise moment when light and shadow press together to define the next cycle. And the most frightening, and at the same time liberating thing, is that no one can fight this battle for us. Neither the Confederation, nor spiritual guides, nor evolved civilizations can change what each human chooses to feel or sustain. And that is precisely what makes this period so critical. Humanity needs to consciously and internally choose which force it wants to strengthen. The quantum leap is the consequence of this choice, not its instrument. If we choose the shadow, we will remain trapped in the cycle of suffering. If we choose the light, we enter a new paradigm, and there is no neutrality. Not choosing is already a choice. At the same time, there is a planetary movement demonstrating that light is gaining ground. More and more people are breaking destructive cycles, abandoning oppressive systems, awakening to empathy, developing intuition, connecting with nature, rejecting corrupt leadership, and questioning imposed narratives. The shadow reacts with violence, more wars, more manipulation, more polarization, because it is losing ground. This reaction is a symptom that change is truly happening. The chaos, paradoxically, indicates that the old is collapsing. The climax of this battle will not be an explosion in the sky. It will be an awakening within human hearts, and it has already begun. We are living through the turning point where the soul of humanity decides whether to rise or surrender, to expand or contract, to ignite or extinguish. The final 4% is precisely that turning point, the moment when a part of humanity chooses, with absolute clarity, to walk towards the light. And when that happens, nothing, absolutely nothing, will be able to stop the leap. The Confederation doesn't observe Earth as one might look at a distant experiment. They observe us with a kind of ancestral tenderness, as if recognizing in us the same journey they themselves traveled millennia ago. They know what it is to live on a divided planet, to witness the collapse of civilizations, to confront destructive forces, to lose and regain one's own direction. That is why they do not judge us. That is why they do not give up on us. They see in us not what we are, but what we can be if we cross that vibrational threshold. And while they await our vibrational maturity, they approach slowly and carefully. Increased sightings, silent descents of light, telepathic contacts, DNA activations, recurring dreams, inexplicable synchronicities. None of this is coincidence. Each event is part of a carefully planned protocol to prepare humanity to bear the truth. They don't want to shock us. They want to strengthen us. They don't want to prove their existence. They want to awaken ours. What they expect from us is not worship, nor fear, nor submission. They expect vibrational responsibility. They hope that humanity will learn to manage its emotions, to understand its own impulses, to stop destroying itself and the planet that shelters it. They expect maturity, discernment, the ability to recognize one's own shadows without drowning in them. Because only then will we be able to enter into a cosmic alliance without repeating the mistakes that brought us here. They also expect courage. Courage to break with old narratives. Courage to face social ridicule when we talk about spirituality. Courage to abandon survival patterns and embrace patterns of creation. The Confederation observes us not to measure us, but to see who, at this critical moment, is willing to sustain the vibration necessary for the leap. They are not looking for crowds. They are looking for stabilizers, energy pillars, minds and hearts capable of holding the field while the entire planet oscillates between fall and rise. And most importantly, they expect us to understand that there are no external saviors. They didn't come to solve our problems. They came to walk alongside us when we are ready. They don't want to carry us. They want to accompany us, because the true quantum leap is cooperative. It's us adjusting our vibration and them responding with greater closeness. It's us igniting our consciousness and them opening pathways. It's us reaching the 4% and them crossing the boundary that has separated them from us for millennia. As we approach the necessary vibrational point, something profound begins to stir in the invisible fabric of the earth. It's not a change seen in the news nor in official speeches, but in the cracks, in the small gestures of kindness that arise without explanation, in the silent decisions to abandon destructive behaviors, in the tears that flow for no apparent reason, in the growing desire to live with purpose. These signs, these intimate whispers, are symptoms of the portal opening. The portal is not physical, it is vibrational. It opens when the human field reaches a minimum level of emotional coherence, and we are dangerously close. So close that the entire universe seems to hold its breath. The threshold of the quantum leap doesn't arrive with fanfare, but with a kind of inner silence that echoes like a muffled drum within the chest. Many people begin journeys of self-discovery without understanding that they have been propelled by something greater than themselves. Others, who never believed in anything spiritual, begin to dream of lights, figures, temples, spaceships, memories of other worlds. The collective consciousness is preparing itself, even in those who resist. The portal is democratic. It touches atheists, religious people, skeptics, sensitive people, children, the elderly. It touches them because it is a wave that no one, absolutely no one, has the power to stop. Meanwhile, nature itself responds. Intense climate changes are not merely environmental phenomena, they are direct reflections of human vibrational instability. When humanity becomes emotionally ill, the planet manifests a fever. When humanity attempts to awaken, the planet stabilizes and begins to send signals of reorganization. The Earth is not a dead ground. It is a living, conscious being that participates in the transition. Therefore, many have felt in recent decades the impression that time is accelerating, that the days seem shorter, that events are being compressed. This sensation is not psychological. It is a sign of approaching the threshold. And it is at this critical point that opposing forces attempt to influence the final outcome. While the Confederation whispers, encourages, and gently touches those who are ready, the dense forces amplify fear, division, hatred, cynicism, and hopelessness. They know that if we reach 4%, they will lose the psychological dominance that has sustained their actions for millennia. Thus, they intensify the noise. They create informational chaos, extreme polarization, social collapses, ideological wars. It's the old strategy, to confuse in order to prevent humanity from realizing its own power. But even this strategy is beginning to fail, because more and more people are able to see through the fog. The quantum leap portal is not a door that opens for a select few. It is a collective invitation, a call for each human being to decide whether they want to continue living in the painful repetition of their old patterns, or whether they want to cross the vibrational frontier that has awaited them since the beginning of time. When we reach 4%, something irreversible will happen. Not a visible spectacle, but a definitive internal change. The feeling that we are finally moving towards what we were born to be, a civilization that chooses consciousness. The portal exists. It is before us. We only need to cross it. There is a moment, a single moment, when entire civilizations awaken. They don't awaken because they understand everything, nor because they become perfect. They awaken because they finally stop running from themselves. This moment is coming for humanity. It will not be marked by a light descending from the heavens, nor by the public appearance of immense spaceships, but by a subtle and absolute change within the ordinary human being. One day, you will wake up feeling that something is different, that the world seems lighter, that your intuition is clearer, that your choices make more sense. That will be the sign that the 4% has been reached. When this happens, the Confederation will not descend to us. It will appear according to our vibration. For some, in lucid dreams. For others, in more frequent sightings. For many, in inner communications. And for a minority already prepared, direct contact may occur. It will not be an invasion, nor astonishment, nor terror. It will be an encounter, a reunion in truth. Because we will not be seeing unknown beings, but members of an ancient family who patiently waited for us to remember who we are. They were never far away. They were only waiting for our maturity. This new phase of humanity will not make us saints, nor immune to suffering, but it will make us conscious. And consciousness is what changes everything. A conscious humanity does not accept manipulation, does not perpetuate wars, does not destroy the planet, does not repeat toxic patterns. A conscious humanity heals itself. And in healing itself, it heals the planet. And in healing the planet, it naturally aligns itself with civilizations that vibrate in light. This is the true quantum leap, not an event, but a permanent change in the way we exist. The post-leap will not be an idyllic paradise, but a world where lies lose their power, where fear diminishes, where intuition intensifies, where new ethical technologies emerge, where science and spirituality cease to contradict each other. It will be a world in which we look to the past with compassion, realizing that everything we have lived through was preparation. Every pain, every fall, every grief, every loss, every awakening, everything brought us to the threshold, a threshold that now watches back at us. And so, when the leap finally pulses through humanity, many will look to the sky and feel something they cannot explain, a kind of familiarity, as if an ancient bond were being restored. There will be no trumpets. There will be recognition. There will be a return. And there will be a single gesture capable of fully activating the new phase. Choose to vibrate above fear. And so I leave you with this final call, meant to resonate only with those who already feel the inner movement. If this resonated with you, let the phrase resonate in the comments. I am part of the 4%.